Hello, hello, everyone.
Welcome to the best breakout session you could have possibly chosen.
Yes, we will wait just a little bit for people to join.
As you come in, be sure to drop in the chat where you're at, maybe even what your role is. That'll help us to kind of uh, get some pointed commentary for you today.
Yes, let us know where you're from. We'll wait for a few more people to join. I know it's been
Welcome, Donna, Jess, Emily. Oh, they're coming in now. Let's go.
awesome.
Oh, I see folks from all over Texas, Wisconsin, North Carolina. My goodness. We are covering from sea to shining sea today in our breakout session.
Yes.
LA, let's go.
Wow, yeah. Welcome, everyone. We are going to just give it a few more minutes, maybe not a few, probably 30 seconds before we officially get started. So as you're joining, tell us where you're from. If you have any questions just based on what I talked about originally just a few minutes ago from stage, feel free to pop those questions in. We're going to do a Q&A after if we have time, but we're going to kind of dive a little bit more into our systems that we have. And then let us know if you have anything you need throughout as we continue to share and talk about what Amplify generosity solutions we have.
Absolutely. And I know you're probably making your Christmas list while you're watching this breakout session after you've listened to all those great Christmas songs. So you can do that as well. Just don't miss anything good. I see that Wayne is asking about automations. And so we're going to definitely talk about that in our breakout here. And so that's going to be something we cover.
Yep, absolutely. Well, I think we will go ahead and get started. Does that sound good to you, Blake?
Let's go.
Perfect. So thank you guys for choosing, I don't know, the best breakout session there is right now. So Blake probably would agree. Hopefully
100.
we'll make this fun, educational for you, just to show you some systems and processes that we have within Ministry Brands. And just to introduce myself briefly, I'm Lindsey. I do have a history working at a church for 10 years. I started as an administrator into operations administration, multi-site location. So I left there as a tenure with my title as Director of Generosity. So passionate about generosity systems and really just how do we bring it all in so that people can, one, learn who Christ is, right? Give their all to him, but also how do we live that out? And so truly these systems are something that I believe in, and it's something that I've done for years as well. And then Blake, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Yes, my name's Blake. I was a lead pastor for 12 years. And so just excited now to be able to share with you the wonderful things that we have at Amplify. One thing I'm really passionate about is, helping people be inspired to be generous, not only with their money. We talk about treasure a lot, but as the preacher often says, got to alliterate it, the three T's, right? Time, talent, and treasure. We want people to be using all of those things. And I know for you as pastors and church leaders, you're trying to find ways to inspire your people to live on mission. And we live in a tech world, right? I mean, in the 21st century, this is a world that is driven by technology. So we want to help you today leverage technology to really be able to accomplish the mission and vision that God has given you. I know Michael's asking in the chat if we're going to cover worship planning, and we are going to talk about that towards the end of the breakout. We're going to cover that too. So stay with us.
Yep, absolutely. We're going to hit on just about probably everything within starting with a form all the way over to service, volunteer planning, and all of that, and how that all can be integrated and streamlined. So, and we might not go into full detail because we won't have as much time today, but we will share our information so you can email us. We can set up a meeting and really dive into specifically what your church's current systems are, but then we can also see if there is a way to streamline. That is our job. We are church consultants, where we meet with churches every day that say, hey, here's the systems we're using, and then how can we bring those together to save your team time? And so that's what we're going to dive into. And I do know, I talked about just a bit ago that Christmas is here, end of year is here, 99 days until Christmas, which is crazy. And we talked about an end of year strategy, because what we do know is people are looking to give their money monetarily. Like, what does that look like to be generous beyond their tithe? But also, what does that look like to be generous with their time? I know for me and my family, we like to serve extra for Christmas services and sign up and things like that. And so not only are people wanting to give above that 10%, they're looking to give more during the holidays as well. So we're going to kind of talk through somewhat of that strategy of what that could look like, starting from planning out now what that looks like to get people involved, but also bring in that 2026, which is crazy to say, to bring excitement for them to continue to serve, to continue to be a part of a group, and continue to grow further in Christ in a community.
Totally. I think there's two things that we want to do today. We want to help you leverage this for the end of the year, but then we want to just help you create better systems for the long term as well. So hopefully we can cover both of those things.
Yeah, and I'm going to share my screen really fast to show you guys the system. So this is going to be a lot of sharing, showing you how the system can work, so you can really see it in real time of how this can be set up. So just want to make sure, Blake, can you see my screen?
Gotcha.
Perfect. Okay, so I want to quickly hit on forms again and those impact reports, and how that can just feed over into those automations for everything. So like I mentioned, is these forms with an impact report truly can change why people give. So you can build these impact reports out by fund. So if you want to show how you're giving to missions, how you're giving to a general fund, all of that can be broken down into a different impact report as they select those down drops. So that's really cool, because I feel like it's very inspiring. It makes them know where their money is going, and also brings that transparency to where the church is using those funds. But whenever I talk about forms, what's also my favorite thing in here is we give you immediate ways to share it. So I always say give 5 ways to give, because everyone gives differently. So the ways that we can give those would be immediately with a QR code, an embed code for your website, and then you have a direct link. But what's really cool also in this system is we have text to give that you can set up also. So you can do a text to give option, and then you're going to have the option for them to give in person as well. So physical donations. So if you can think through those 5 ways to share these forms out for people to give, then the likelihood, there's a high percentage that your giving will increase, because you're allowing multiple ways to give. And Blake, did you have anything you wanted to add with that? I know you've been a pastor at a church.
Yeah, a lot of times church we'll talk to churches and they'll say, "Well, I'm not sure my people would really utilize this." But what happens when they do choose these options is they're amazed at how their people actually do utilize the methods that they don't think would actually be that popular. So provide all the opportunities and the options for your people to give, and I think you'll be amazed. The other thing that's great about our system is I know pastors and church leaders are always trying to share with people, what is your money going to do? How is it going to make a difference? Well, you don't always have time to share those things every Sunday in the worship service. So this is a cool way to be able to have that information before your people on a regular basis, so they can really see how their generosity is making a difference in the life of your church.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is where that workflow automation goes, comes into play. So I know Stephanie mentioned in the comments, really wants to see how it can maximize your time. So another example with our forms is you don't just utilize these forms for giving. You can use them for event registration as well, or signups, or even a connection card. And so an example of that is our workflow, if you have a connection form with that, a first-time visitor could fill that out, and then you're able to set up different triggers and actions. And so you can say, okay, this person filled out a connection form. I'm going to send them an email, and then I'm going to sign an interaction for a staff member to follow up. So maybe that's another handwritten letter for the pastor to thank them for coming. Or maybe if they have children, the children's minister gives them a call and sees how their kids did within the service. But it doesn't stop with just one interaction. You can set up those triggers where they could get a text within 5 days of after they're added to that group, that you send them a text message inviting them back the next weekend. So then if they're still in that group in 3 weeks, then you can sign an interaction for another staff member to follow up. So there's multiple things in these steps that you could do where people just won't be missed in the cracks, because you're not feeding off an Excel sheet that's feeding off into a MailChimp document in a group. You're able to really track their path of if they're attending, if they're not attending, and continue that follow up.
Yeah, this is so huge. I tell churches that I talk to all the time, like literally allow us to be an additional administrative assistant for your church, right? Because this is something that if left up to our own memory, I just got to remember to do this every Monday or every Tuesday, it's going to fall through the cracks. You're going to do it some weeks, you're going to not do it some weeks. So think about the impact you can have when every time somebody gives for the first time to your church, a letter goes out to them and it says, thank you for giving. This is what your faithfulness and generosity does to help the kingdom of God advance. Like, this is a game changer, I think, for you if you can utilize this in the everyday life of your church.
Yeah, absolutely. And so this is our people database. I kind of shifted over into our module within people. So not only in online giving do your forms sync over into our people database, but it also syncs over where you can set up those workflows. And anyone who gives online, it's going to automatically go over to our people database. So you're not having to manually input their online giving. It's already going to sit under their profile automatically when they give. And so within people, I know Blake really loves our profiles just based on his experience. So why don't you kind of walk us through what you love about the profile, Blake?
Yeah, so one of the things that I think we're always trying to do in a post-COVID world, right, is get people plugged in to the life of the church. And as pastors and church leaders, we want to create touch points with those people. Well, in order for us to create touch points, we have to have pertinent information, right? And it could be as simple, if you go down here, there's some notes on this profile, like John likes Badgers football, an opportunity for a touch point. John is in need of prayer, opportunity for a touch point. So we want you to have real actionable information that can help you in the discipleship process as you're moving people to be conformed to the image of Christ. So from a pastoral perspective, our profile is crucial. If you look at the top, you see that our profiles are also grouped by family, because as a pastor and a church leader, you're reaching families a lot of time, and you want to know, is John plugged into a small group? Has John been baptized? You may even want to know, has John passed a background check, right? We're the largest background check provider for churches in America. So all of that seamlessly integrates into what we do and Amplify. So this is huge. Another great thing I'll just point out under the giving tab is, this is exciting for me because as a pastor that has led building projects before, I really love pledges. Because this inspires your people. Maybe in the coming year, you're going to launch a brand new building project, right? You're going to build a new center for children and students. And you're asking people maybe not to give it right up front, but just to pledge, hey, over the next year, over the next 2 years, this is what I'm committing to give. Well, our system will track that for you, and it'll let people know how faithful they have been, right? You know, sometimes we got to just give them a little nudge. Hey, remember that promise you made last year with our children's building? Just want to remind you that you're due for another gift. So this is a really cool feature in our system, I think, that can really help you implement your vision as leaders in your church. So this is cool.
Yeah, and this is where my director of generosity position comes into play.
Yes.
And my passion for giving is it truly could set up building excitement for 2026. And so as you have a pledge that you're going to set up through the end of the year, you can really hit on that at the beginning of the year as well in January, where people can make a faith-based commitment, saying that this is what they're going to give for the year. So I think it's a lot of building that excitement, but also administratively, is they can actually pull their statements themselves. It makes end of year giving statements because you can input physical donations in this system. This is really our most robust system to be able to grow engagement, house their financial side of things as well, and be able to easily communicate to people also.
Hey,
And so,
just quickly, would you go back to John's profile? There are some, there was a question Wayne asked about what are the icons under the name. And so just kind of
okay.
quickly, you can run through, it's just showing us, Wayne, some pertinent details about John, that he's married, that he's passed the background check, that he's in a small group, different things like that, that can help you quickly identify where John is at in the life of your church.
Yeah, absolutely. And these are all customizable. So whatever you deem important to see directly on a profile, you can actually build this out specific for what you want to see immediately. And then another thing I like to mention is these interactions and notes you can assign for staff members, volunteers, and you can make sure that they're followed up with so they're not missed. And I like this because with church, we can have new staff members or a new volunteer. If they go to someone's profile and they could see that John had heart surgery 2 months ago, it creates an easy connection for that new staff member to relate to a member of the church. And so I like that there could be some personalized notes. And I do like to mention there's lots of permissions that can be set up. So not everyone has to see those things that are, if they're personal as well. So, and as I mentioned, like these groups or this profile is great, but we really house everything in groups. And so with the groups, you can build out member directories that sync over to our mobile app. So you can have a mobile member directory as well. So that's just one example of another integration that is within this system. And then you can do attendance. So you can group everyone by their age group as well. And so women's groups, Bible group, things like that, because that's where our mass contact comes into play. So I feel like this is a huge game changer is within mass contact, you have the ability to email out groups, text, or voice message, which we know everyone communicates differently. It's like going back to those 5 ways to give. Everyone wants to give the easiest way for them. So if you open up 5 ways, they're going to find that easiest way for them. Communication's the same way. Some people read their emails, some people don't. Some people check their text messages, some people are going to check their voice messages. So having these groups, being able to simply just choose what group you're going to send a message to, you can easily type the message, save that under their profile, and be able to send it out mass group contact. So that way you're not having to individually type emails into your current email, like Gmail account or anything like that.
There's one question
Any,
here. I'm just trying to, we got lots of good questions, so try not to get overwhelmed, but just answer them one at a time. How
yeah.
easy is it to add our members who mail checks and those who give cash and checks on Sunday to the system? So that question about manual entry.
Yeah, so it is by batch. So you just create and choose a batch here. So you can actually title it, put your total amount that you count, and then you're simply just going to put in that person's name and what they gave and what fund it was. Again, that integration, your online giving funds will actually match over into people as well. So there's a synchronicity of that integration that's going to not have you double entering anything on those fund management down drop. And then it's going to say, are you sure you want to add it? When you hit submit, tons of checks and balances. So then it's going to house all of the online giving and physical donations within the system as well. Did you have another question that you saw, Blake?
I do. I think let's run through what we want to cover, and then we'll circle back at the end. Lots of good questions here, but
Yeah.
we will
Okay.
we'll circle back and answer all these at the end.
Perfect. Okay, so I apparently messed up my dashboard, so I'm not sure what's happening here. But the nice thing is you can actually build out a dashboard for the stats that you do want to see. I think something messed up for me, so it's not really pulling, but you can actually build out your different stats that you could go to every day to see, or on Monday to see what specific giving was given, where you are year to date. You could pull birthdays, anniversaries, and so on and so forth within a dashboard. So this is a custom build out that you can actually use for your own personal login to be able to see certain stats that you want to see within this dashboard. So I wanted to point that out as well. Anything else in here, Blake, that you wanted to mention?
I think that's good. I think I always tell people there's enough in here to fry our brains, but that's some of the really good stuff that can help you on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, absolutely. So whenever now we want to switch over to volunteer scheduling and worship planning. So how this integration works is within our people database, we will have the option for adding a group for volunteers. And then that's going to feed over into our service planning app. So this is going to be our service planning module. And whoever's serving, if they're added on any type of serving list, they're going to be able to see where they're serving. This is if you allow them to sign up. They could actually sign and accept up if they accept a serving role, if they meet a criteria, if there's an open position. But this is going to list everywhere they're scheduled to serve, which I don't know that I'm on any scheduled servings right now on my main dashboard, but it's going to list anything that they're going to be serving here if they're scheduled to serve. And then they can actually request off if they can't serve, if they know they're going to be out of town. So this is like their main hub of if a volunteer went into service planning, this is what they would see. They'd see where they're serving. If there's any positions they meet certain criterias, they can sign up to serve and they can request off as well. But to build out service planning, really you start with building your roles and skills. So an example would be your worship band. As you build that out, you could say, okay, we need a drummer, we need a production tech, so you really build out those skills and roles of what would be where. And especially for like in children's ministry, what roles does that look like? Maybe it's check-in. You build those out and then you can create your teams. So you can assign different volunteers, which automatically syncs over those people. So you're going to have your people here, but you want to say, okay, what are our teams? So maybe that's children's ministry, your cooking team, hospitality. So you build out your teams, you build out your roles, and then you can go in and assign people where they can serve. So they can have the ability to serve in multiple roles. Maybe it's just one role, but you assign where they have the ability to serve under those teams. So that's kind of like the basic setup. And then you can see like a volunteer role here where you could see if anyone has it requested off, not to schedule them, or you can request someone off as well. Now, it also builds out your service templates. So if you have the same flow, you can build a template and then pull it over into the weekend. So super easy that way. Assign, drag and drop your music over, assign who's maybe on stage as the speaker, and even schedule rehearsal. So it's pretty in-depth on scheduling as well. And then you can actually go to that specific event and see what teams are scheduled, and then sorry, I'm going to move to it real fast. What teams are scheduled and who is scheduled to serve within those teams in what role. So that's a little bit about service planning and how that syncs over as well. And then the last thing I want to mention is our websites. So we have multiple options within our Generosity Solutions for websites. So that can break down in specific church templates, which I think is so helpful for churches to be able to have something specific built out, and then it's a plug and play from there. So we have multiple options in that aspect. So I know that this can seem like a lot of ease within what we have in integrations, but it's not something that with our team that we just kind of throw at you. We always are able to have trainers that will meet with you. We have a setup team. We have trainers who walk you through it who are super experienced. So they help you get it set up so you can actually start using the system very fast and efficiently as well.
Yeah, and the training's key. Sometimes we live in the DIY culture, right? That's what I'll just get in there and figure it out. Maybe I'll mess it up a couple of times, but I always advise churches, use our training, utilize the resource knowledge that our people have, because it's going to make your experience so much better, and you're going to be so
Yes.
much more satisfied with the product when you utilize that.
Yep, absolutely. I know we have about 4 minutes left, so if there were any other questions we want to hit on, I'm going to share one more time my screen. You could reach out to us if you have more questions, since we might not have a ton of time left. But here's our information if you want to reach out to us. Blake, did you see any questions that we could hit on quickly?
Let's see. We currently have Shelby with Shelby Next and Shelby Financials. It looks similar to Amplify. Is it the same?
Yeah, it is. It is very similar, just the look and feel. So again, we always like to meet with people if we think that, changing systems is a good idea. Most of the time, it's going to be the same look and feel and systematically of what we offer but all of our software systems.
Yeah, someone asked, can we delete an interaction without going through support? And you can delete. Interactions are controlled by you. That's not something that you would need to go through support for.
Yeah, everything is built out customized for you. So if it's something that you're interested in with these automations, I think it would be great to reach out to us. Let's set up a call and meet to discuss really what your current systems are. Does it make sense to look at Amplify? I mean, we definitely want to ensure that systems are set up appropriately and make it more efficient for you. But we meet with churches every day that just say, okay, here's where we're at. What does that look like if we were to move to Amplify, and does it make sense? So we're very open and honest if it makes sense to make a transition over or not. And we can always help you find other ways and give you resources to better your systems, even if it's not Amplify is the best option. So, okay, I think we are wrapping up because we are ending. I want to thank you guys for, joining our session. I hope that it was beneficial and informative. If you need anything, that's our information. Feel free to reach out. And we really appreciate you guys joining us. And I hope you have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.